Hello, in this presentation, we will record a transaction related to the sales receipt and deposit, focusing this time on the second piece, the deposit portion, into our bookkeeping process in Excel, keeping in mind how the same information could be input into accounting software such as QuickBooks. If you would like more information about the QuickBooks Pro, take a look at our comprehensive course in the link below. We will first take a look at QuickBooks and go through the process we have so far, and then go to Excel and record the transaction. What we've done so far is we had the create sales receipt. So we started here last time. We created a sales receipt, which was the sale of a guitar in our case, and we received payment at the same point in time. We are now going to go straight to the record deposit item, the second point, this being something that hopefully will be done at the end of the day after we collect all the sales receipts for the day. Scrolling down, we have the deposit section. If we clicked on the deposits, then we're going to click off all the deposits that are still out and outstanding at this time, in this case being these 3 deposits, including the current sales receipt that we have. And we're going to then deposit that into the bank. It would look like this, grouping deposits together to get to 825. This then, when we record this, will increase the checking account by the 825, grouping them together in that format. And the other side would be decreasing the undeposited funds account. Let's take a look at this in Excel. Within Excel, we're going to see these items here. We're going to record this same transaction. And first question we typically ask is cash affected? Is the checking account affected? We're going to say yes, it is. We're going to deposit this information into the checking account. Therefore, we will debit the checking account, increasing the checking account. We're going to say the date is going to be 02/12. Let's do that again, 2/12. And we're going to copy the checking account. So I'm going to copy the checking account. Right click and copy. We will then have that as our first account in B27. Right click and paste 123. We're going to put the entire amount there. Last time we collected the 525, but we're going to say that there were prior transactions in the undeposited funds. And if we look at the undeposited funds, we have a total of 825 there. So that includes the 525 we have just entered in the prior transaction, plus what was in there from prior transactions, which we need to take out of there and post to the, or deposit into and then post to the checking account. So 825 is going to be the amount, 825. And the other side of this transaction then being undeposited funds, us in essence moving it from the undeposited, representing cash that we just have on hand that we haven't put in the bank yet, to the checking account representing cash that has been deposited to the bank account. So we're going to right click and copy undeposited funds, scroll back down, put that on the bottom in B28. B28, right click and paste 123. We will then go to the Home tab, Alignment Group, and increase the indenting, and then put the credit here in D28, which would be a negative of that number. There's our journal entry. We're going to debit the checking account. We're going to credit undeposited funds for that $825. So now we're going to record this. We have journalized the journal entry into the general ledger, and we'll go through the process of posting this to the general ledger. We actually journalized it to the general journal, and now we'll go through the posting of it to the general ledger. Here's the checking account. So checking account is our first account here. It's going to be the first account on the general ledger then. We're going to be down here in AM11, and we'll scroll down a little bit, and we're going to have to scroll down a little bit more to find this. That's okay. We're going to say equals in AM11, scroll down a tad, and get to that 825 and enter. So that's going to bring the checking account up to $104,794. There it is on the trial balance as well. Scrolling back down, we then have the undeposited funds. And if we look at the trial balance, here's the undeposited funds on the trial balance. It's going to be in the same location on the general ledger. So we'll scroll to the right till we find the undeposited funds. There they are. I'm going to scroll back over, actually. I'm going to scroll back all the way over, and let's freeze the panes to make that a little bit easier. So we'll scroll up to the top, we'll put our cursor in AJ1, go to the View tab, and we'll go to the Windows group, freeze panes, and then we'll scroll down and we'll find that undeposited funds once again while we can still see these first couple accounts. Scrolling back down, there's the undeposited funds. We want to be in the debit side, so we're in AU23, AU23 equals, and we will then point to this 825, bringing the 825 balance down by 825 to 0 or 1. It's off by rounding. In this case, that's okay. We're going to scroll back to the trial balance. We see that same rounding 1 right there. And now we're going to go to the financials and just see what happened to the financials. Before we do that though, we're going to go to the View tab, the Freeze panes, and unfreeze the windows. And we've done something to the checking account, so I'm just going to point to that on the financials to see how it's updated automatically, and to undeposited funds. So once again, I'll just point to that on the financials. We'll scroll all the way to the right to see those on the financials. I'm just holding down the right arrow. We're over here in the columns of BW column. All right, and then we have cash here has been adjusted automatically, undeposited funds 2. That sums up to the current assets, and the total assets equal the liabilities and equity. Still, there's no effect on the income statement from this transaction. There was in the prior transaction, but this transaction was just moving it from one cash account to another, and therefore we have the same net loss of 243, 246. That amount being part of the end calculation in the statement of owner's equity, 143,929. That amount part of the balance sheet of 143,929.